In 2023, 50,193 children were adopted from foster care, a decrease of over 5% from the previous year and over 24% in 2019. This is a cry for help. There are children around the world, and specifically in our country and in our communities, who are needing of a family and a safe home to be in, and that is something that we can give to them ourselves in the community. Being a foster parent may seem very scary, but if you do this, it will help change a child's life and mold them in who they're going to be, even if you're just a foster parent for them for a temporary home, or if you are going to adopt them, because the rate of people aging out of the system has increased a lot, and the way that this can stop is only from people who are stepping up to be foster parents. Today I'll be telling you about the need for foster parents, and whenever someone does become a foster parent, how happy they are and how their levels of happiness go up. And then the happiness of foster children or adopted children, and then also how people or children who age out of the system, how that affects them and their lives. And then lastly, I'll be telling you about how many foster parents we need today. So foster parents are something that we need in our community very heavily. They are there for whenever a child is not safe to stay in their home anymore, and a child can go to their home temporarily, or they can stay there for a long time, or they can be the foster to adopt. But any way that someone is a foster parent is going to help someone in the community. Foster parents contribute to that child's life. They give them many things they didn't have before. They have to give them a stable home, and then once they're their foster parent, they're in charge of their health care, their well-being, their education, and their mental welfare. A foster parent also will be in charge of if the child is able and if the child wishes to speak to their biological family. The foster parent has to be there to make sure that that happens, and it's happening in a safe and healthy way. The Up Center states that foster parents don't just change a child's future, they transform their own families, communities as well, by providing love, stability, and care. Foster parents help children heal, regain trust, and envision brighter futures. Children who go into foster care may not have very good trust issues. They've been through most of the time traumatic things, and that foster family is there to help them build back that trust that they never got to have, and to teach them what it's like to be a real family and to be in a real community. A foster parent also can find joy from this. Whenever you let people into your home and make them into your family, you're just adding on to people who love you and care about you, and that really will make you happy in life. Secondly, we are going to talk about the happiness of foster children and how whenever kids age out of the system, how it affects them. Like I've been stating, foster children go through traumatic instances, and whenever that happens, their happiness may not be where it would be for a normal child. And so once a child is taken out of a bad situation and put into a good family, they have a lot more opportunities than children who either don't go into a foster home, or even children who are just born into a family where they're safe. Foster children have been shown to have very much more advantages than other children, and they progress more in the mind and how they interact with people. Foster children are statistically seen to be more advanced or more able to perform highly in areas of school like literature, mathematics, and language arts. Foster children are also more read to whenever they're younger, which can help with a child's literature abilities whenever they're older. Foster children also are more likely to engage in extracurricular activities, and before they were a foster child, more than likely, they were not able to do this. They were not able to have extracurricular activities because their home wasn't safe in the first place, so they wouldn't be able to go out and do things, speaking from experience. Foster children have a really big advantage, especially once they're adopted from foster care. Whenever you adopt a child from foster care, you give them a new hope and a new beginning, so anyway, it could be good. The American Adoption Association says, with the goal of adopting being to provide the child a lifetime of love and support, it's easy to focus on the positive life-changing impacts as it can bring, and to overlook some of the challenges of growing up adopted. Children may not know that they're adopted growing up, and sometimes that can have a negative effect once they are So some people decide to tell their children growing up that they're adopted, and it's a known fact, but some don't. And it has been statistically shown that this can cause different reactions from children, good and bad, from both sides. And then also, the American Adoptions also said, in a study of adoptees completed by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, stats show that adopted children often grow up having significant advantages, like I had spoken about. But there also are children who grow up in the system and age out because there was no one who would take them into their homes. Actually, in some of the highest rates reported for children aging out was in Virginia, with 20% of children in 1 year aging out of the system, and then followed by DC with 14%, and then Michigan with 15%. And the numbers are really high already, so that's just going to keep growing if there's no action taken. Children who age out of the system most of the time go back into old ways that they had been brought up in. Children who age out of the system more than likely to become young teen parents. Their poverty rates are very high, their drug abuse rates are really high, and the arrest rates are pretty high, and mostly to 100% of children who age out of the system. Whenever a child is taken into foster care, they're taken into foster care so they can break the mold and break the chain that had been through their family or through generations of people that they had grown up with. And whenever they age out of the system, statistics show that they normally do go back to these things. And this is something that we don't want for our kids, but we also do not want for our society and our future. Foster parents are needed so that we can help the children, because the children are our future in our society. And these are things that other children in the future shouldn't have to go through. And the Annie E. Casey Foundation states, compared to their general population peers, young people who have aged out of the foster care are more likely to experience behavioral, mental, and physical health issues. They're also more likely to endure challenges such as housing instability, joblessness, academic difficulties, early parenthood, and substance use. Like I said, being a foster parent is going to help break the mold of everything that the child has been through, and for them to know that they can make their own future and help society as a whole and our communities as a whole. And the statistics show that there are 117,000 children waiting today in America alone to be adopted through foster care, and that's every year, and it keeps going up every year, even after kids are adopted. And there are actually 20,000 kids a year that age out of the system and go back into these hard paths of lives and past lives that they've lived. Adopt U.S. Kids says children and teens enter foster care through no fault of their own because they have been abused, neglected, or abandoned and are unable to continue living safely with their families. This is a call for help to the children in our country. I know from experience that I was adopted through foster care and that I was taken out of a bad situation that had gone on for generations to come, and now that I had been given this new opportunity, I can make a future of my own. And I just believe that foster parents are needed so that our future and our society has a hope, because no child should have to go through what they already are born into and placed into.